Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to take a deep dive into Microsoft Dataverse, and I promise, after this tutorial, you'll finally understand what Dataverse is, why it matters, and how you can actually use it inside Power Apps, without getting lost, confused, or questioning all your life choices. So let's start with the basics. Dataverse is Microsoft's cloud-based business database for the Power Platform. If you've ever used SharePoint, SQL, or tried to store everything in one giant Excel sheet, held together by hope and duct tape, Dataverse is basically the grown-up version of all of that. It gives you structured tables, strong security, relationships between data, business rules, views, forms, and the ability to scale, all without writing code. Think of it as a very polite, very organized assistant that keeps your business data clean, safe, and actually usable. All right, let's build something real. We're going to create a Dataverse table called Training Sessions. Inside Power Apps, go to Dataverse, open Tables, and click New Table. Type Training Sessions as the name. Dataverse will automatically create the table and a few default fields for you. Easy. Now click on Save and Exit and let Dataverse do the rest. To find your new table, you need to head over to Tables and search for the name of your new table. Before we add columns, let's quickly talk about the different Dataverse column types, because this is the part that usually confuses beginners. But don't worry, I'll keep it simple and maybe even slightly entertaining. The first type is text. This is the most basic one. You use it for names, titles, descriptions, anything that contains letters, words, or your user's questionable naming conventions. Next, we have number. Use this for values like capacity, duration, or the number of complaints you've received about your app. You can choose between whole numbers, decimals, or floating points, depending on how precise you want to get. Then there's yes/no, also known as Boolean. Perfect for simple decisions like, is this session online? Is registration required? Or did I actually read the documentation before building this app? Then we have date and time columns. Great for planning events, scheduling training sessions, or figuring out when things went terribly wrong. Choice columns let users pick from predefined options. For example, beginner, intermediate, or advanced. Or if your organization loves chaos, you can add a choice called chaos. Please don't do that. Lookup columns are where Dataverse truly becomes powerful. A lookup allows you to connect one table to another, which means your data is no longer floating around in separate islands. It becomes part of a real, structured, relational system. Think about it like this. You're building a table called Training Sessions. Each session has a trainer. Now, instead of typing the trainer's name over and over again in every row, which leads to duplicates, typos, and general stress, you simply create a lookup column that points to the contact table. This means every training session record links to an existing contact record. What's the benefit? A lot. First, you get consistency. If the trainer changes their name, phone number, or email address, you don't have to update it in 50 different places. Dataverse automatically knows that all training sessions are linked to that same contact record. Second, lookups prevent data errors. Users can only pick existing valid records from the related table. No free typing, no mistakes, and no John Smith with an H one day and John Smith the next. Third, lookups help Dataverse understand the structure of your business. If you have a training sessions table, a trainers table, a rooms table, and an attendees table, lookups connect them all. That means you can easily build reports, filters, views, automations, security rules, and advanced logic because Dataverse knows exactly how those pieces fit together. You can also store files and images in Dataverse using file columns or image columns, perfect for IDs, certificates, or photos. Maybe even pictures of your dog. Dataverse won't mind. Calculated columns automatically compute values based on formulas. For example, end date equals start date plus duration. And another great thing about calculated columns is that they always stay up to date. You never have to worry about someone forgetting to recalculate a value or update a field manually. If any of the underlying fields change, like the start date, duration, or number of participants, the calculated result updates automatically. This keeps your data clean and consistent, even if different people are editing it. It's basically Dataverse helping you avoid human error, which, let's be honest, is something we could all use a little help with. Roll-up columns calculate values based on related records, like counting the number of attendees connected to a session. And what makes roll-up columns especially useful is that they let you build dashboards, summaries, and overviews without any formulas in your app at all. Since Dataverse does all the aggregation for you, things like total attendees, total hours delivered, or the number of feedback entries become instantly available everywhere. Inside Power Apps, Power Automate, and even Power BI. Roll-up columns give you real-time insights across your related data without writing a single line of logic. You set it up once, and Dataverse keeps everything in sync automatically. PowerFX is the formula language used inside Power Apps. And if you've ever worked with Excel, you're already halfway to becoming a PowerFX expert. In fact, you can think of PowerFX as Excel's cooler, more powerful cousin, the cousin who didn't grow up in spreadsheets, but instead decided to run entire applications. Now that you know the different column types, let's actually add them into our training sessions table so you can see how this works in practice. First, add a column called Session Name and choose Text as the type. This is where we'll store the title of the training, so keeping it as plain text makes it simple and flexible. Next, add Start Date as a date column. This tells Dataverse that this field should always hold a proper date value, not just random text typed by a user. When you add it, notice how Dataverse automatically formats it as a date field throughout the system. After that, create duration hours as a number column. This is perfect for something like 3 hours or 2.5 hours, and Dataverse will enforce that only numeric values can be stored here. No typos, no 3 hours written in 20 different ways, just clean, consistent data. Now add Is Online as a yes-no column. This creates a simple toggle that lets you mark whether a session is hosted online or in person. It also helps later when you want to filter or group your sessions by their delivery method. Then add Course Level as a choice column. And enter 3 options: Beginner, Intermediate, and Advanced. Choice columns are great because users can only select valid values. No variations, no misspellings, and no extra creative interpretations of the word beginner. And finally, add a trainer column using the lookup type and point it to the contacts table. This connects each training session to an instructor, and it's the perfect example of how Dataverse relationships help you build a structured data model. Once all of these columns are added, our table is fully structured. And the beautiful part is that Dataverse automatically provides the forms, the views, and the relationships behind the scenes. You now have a clean, well-designed database table without writing a single line of code.
Hey guys, I just launched my brand new interactive Power Apps e-learning course, Build Your First Model-Driven App, made for beginners. And because I believe in learning should be accessible, it's priced at just $39, plus I've got a special $10 discount just for my YouTube audience. Use one of these codes during checkout and you will be rewarded an additional $10 discount.
We're the power ninjas on the rise, building dreams beneath the skies. Bracky's got the moves so slick, with Power Apps we make it click. Power ninjas here to save the day. Bracky leads the way, apps that make your problems fade. Innovation tailor-made.
Now let's turn this table into a model-driven app. And here's an important detail. In the latest Power Apps Maker experience, the option to create a model-driven app doesn't always appear directly under the New App menu. Instead, the recommended and most consistent method is to create it from inside a solution. So that's exactly what we'll do. In the left navigation, go to Solutions. If you don't already have one, click New Solution, give it a name like Training Management Solution, choose a publisher, and click Create. Once your solution opens, click New, then choose App, and select Model-Driven App. This opens the Model-Driven App Creation screen. Give your app a name, I'll call this one Training Management, and click Create to open the Modern App Designer. Inside the designer, click Add Page, choose Dataverse Table, and select Training Sessions. Power Apps will automatically create a full page based on that table, including standard views and forms. After adding the table to the app, it's also useful to customize the forms and views so they show the columns we just created. In the Modern App Designer, select the page for training sessions and open the Edit Form option. This lets you choose exactly which fields appear on the form when users open or edit a record. Add the columns we created, like session name, start date, duration hours, is online, course level, and trainer, and arrange them in the order that makes the most sense for your users. You can simply drag and drop the fields into place, and the form updates instantly. You can do the same for the views. Open the View Editor and add the columns you want to display in the list, such as session name, start date, and course level. This way, users can quickly scan and sort the sessions in a way that's actually helpful, instead of relying on the default columns. Once the form and views are set up, the model-driven app becomes a powerful tool for managing your training data. Users can open the app to create new sessions, update existing ones, filter by level or delivery method, sort by date, and navigate through related records like trainers or attendees. It's a fully functional business application right out of the box. And the best part is that Dataverse handles all the structure and logic for you. Before we move on, let's quickly create a sample record so you can see how all these new columns actually come together in a real entry. In your model-driven app, click Play to open the app in running mode. This lets you interact with the table the same way an end user would. Now click New to create a new training session. Fill in the fields we just added. For example, for session name, enter something like Power Apps Introduction. For start date, choose a date a few days from now. For duration hours, type 3. Set is online to Yes if you want it to be a virtual session. For course level, pick Beginner from the drop-down. And for trainer, select one of the contacts from your list. It can be anyone who represents a realistic trainer in your environment. Once everything looks good, click Save and Close. The record is now stored in Dataverse, and when you return to the main view, you'll see the new training session listed right alongside the automatically generated views. This is one of the nicest parts about Dataverse. As soon as you add structured columns, the app updates itself to reflect the new data without you having to design anything. Now that we've confirmed our Dataverse table works inside the model-driven app, let's move on to something most people interact with more often: a Canvas app. This is where we can design a custom interface and actually show our training data in a more visual and flexible way. So, let's create a new Canvas app. Choose a blank app, select the phone layout, and once the studio opens, look over to the left side of the screen and open the data panel. In the search box, type Training Sessions. You'll see our Dataverse table appear in the list. Simply click Connect, and the table is now added as a data source. That's really all it takes. The connection is instant, and you don't have to configure anything else. Let's start with something simple: displaying the training sessions in a gallery. Insert a vertical gallery onto the screen. With the gallery selected, look at the right-hand panel and change the data source to Training Sessions. As soon as you do that, you'll see your sample record from earlier appear automatically. The gallery uses whatever default layout Power Apps chooses, but we can adjust that. Let's customize the fields. Click Edit Fields and map the title to session name, the subtitle to start date, and maybe use course level as an additional field. This lets users quickly scan through all available sessions. You can reorder the fields, change the layout, or expand the gallery height to make it more readable. Everything updates live because the gallery is connected directly to Dataverse. Now let's make the app interactive by allowing users to tap a session and view or edit its details. Insert an edit form below the gallery, set the form's data source to training sessions, and then click Edit Fields to add the same fields we created earlier. Drag the form so it fits nicely under the gallery. Next, select the gallery, and in the right-hand panel, set the form's item property to gallery1.selected. This means whenever the user taps a training session in the gallery, the form automatically updates to show the information for that specific record. You don't need to write any complex logic. Power Apps handles the entire connection for you. Before we wrap up, let's talk briefly about when you should choose Dataverse versus SharePoint, because people ask this all the time. The rule of thumb is simple. If you're building a real business application with structured data, relationships between tables, validation, security, business rules, or automation, Dataverse is the better choice. If you're building something small and lightweight, like a basic checklist or a simple hobby app, then SharePoint can be fine. But if you feel unsure, Dataverse is almost always the safer, more scalable option. And that brings us to the end of our beginner-friendly Dataverse introduction. In this video, you learned what Dataverse is, how to create tables, how all the important column types work, how to build a model-driven app, how to connect Dataverse to a Canvas app, and how to create and edit records from your own custom interface. If you'd like to go deeper into relationships, business rules, automation with Power Automate, or advanced app building techniques, let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.